Oak City Move is a podcast on WKNC's 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh where we highlight people and organizations creating positive change in the Triangle and beyond. Oak City Move can be heard on air every other Monday on 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh or online at wknc.org/listen. For episodes and more information, go to our blog at blog.wknc.org or follow us on SoundCloud at WKNC 881. Hello, 88.1 WKNC Raleigh. The song you just heard was House of Mango by Surf Ninja 3, and I am Sophia Magnanini, your host. You are listening to Oak City Move. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Stacey Donoghue, co-founder and executive director of StrongHER Together. First off, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and speak with me, and we can jump right into it. So to start off, for those who may not be familiar, could you explain what StrongHER Together is, and how would you describe your mission?
Well, first, thanks, Sophia, so much for having us today. This is a lot of fun. As you ask about, what is StrongHER Together all about? The Our mission is that we're trying to teach girls how to stick together no matter how different they are, and basically rise above mean girl stereotypes that are associated with us. Drama and gossip and judgment and manipulation and all the many things. And the way that we try to do that is we try to instill a mindset of networking and encouragement among girls and women. But we try to instill that mindset over the course of 8 years with young girls that start with us in the fifth grade until they graduate from high school. When I say we do that organically, it's really we have a variety of focuses and activities that give the girls opportunities to come from all these different backgrounds and work together to learn something or accomplish something. So in a nutshell, that's what we're doing over here.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also just very important because as women, we've all kind of lived through it, especially in the earlier stages of our life, being pinned up against one another, going through that quote unquote girl drama. But you guys are giving an opportunity to show this doesn't have to be competitive. We can all work together and build off of one another's strengths and weaknesses. So that's just really
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like one thing, Sophia, that we have to keep our eyes on as women is the fact that, I think it was a couple of years ago, the World Economic Forum came out and shared that we're on track for women in the United States to catch up with men in terms of pay and promotions in 208 years. And
wow.
if you look at women of color, that it's an even longer stretch. So yeah, we've got some work to do. So we'd be a lot better off if we kind of stuck together.
I totally agree. And speaking of like the roots of StrongHER Together, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what led you to create StrongHER Together? Was there a particular moment or like experience that made you realize this kind of organization was needed in the community?
Yeah. Okay. So you asked about my background. Um, I studied at NC State. I studied civil engineering. And then after that, went over to Chapel Hill, I know, and got an MBA there and went on to work in a corporate environment for a while with a Fortune 500 and then stopped doing that, started my own business and sold it. And somehow ended up, like starting a nonprofit. Um, I think that background, even though a nonprofit wasn't really on my radar, I think that my background, if I'm honest, really contributed to the fact that I had an interest in this. At the time that I was at NC State in engineering, there were one, maybe two girls in my class with me. And then I went on and I was working for a large corporation for about a decade. And basically, what I came to see there, was that I kind of reached a point where I obviously wasn't going to progress a lot further. I mean, the reality was that everybody who was above me at that point was, a white male in his 40s, and they all played golf together, and I was never going to be a part of that club. So I was kind of used to being in situations where, where um, I was, not part of the clique, part of the club,
Hmm.
part of the progression, part of the elevation. So Stronger Together, when you asked about was there a particular moment, we are going to be 8 years old this summer. And Dr. Vashana Rami and myself are besties. In fact, I just saw her this morning. She's my sister in all things of life, but she's an oncologist, and so she's not involved with our programming now, but she's absolutely a co-founder that was there at the start with the concept and putting all this together. And I think, Sophia, what really like prompted us, I always tell people that it was sort of a trifecta of events that led us to create Stronger Together. We had a situation where, one of our friends had a daughter who received a nasty birthday card. She was 6 years old from another girl, and it said, "I don't like you, but happy birthday
Oh
anyway." And
my
we thought, wow,
goodness.
that takes a lot of confidence to send that out to
Yeah.
somebody, and so young. And that was quickly, it seemed, followed by a situation where we had um, uh, race-based hate crime that happened here in Durham to a restaurant owner, a woman. And conversely, with her, we were able to see how her collection of girlfriends just kind of rallied around her during that time and turned something in to a positive reaction to it, as opposed to any number of other reactions that she could have had. And I guess the third piece that kind of pushed us toward putting Stronger together was that the we just were sort of sensing. I mean, this was back in late 2016, early 2017. We were just kind of sensing like a shift in society where things that were typically negatively stereotypical were potentially going to be embraced or maybe even celebrated. So if we knew we already had this stereotype for all of us, girls and women, were there going to be things happening in society that could pit us against one another even more, right? So was it going to become even more important that we had each other's backs? And so put all that together, and you know, there we were, sending in our, application to the IRS for a 501c3 designation. Yeah, so that's kind of how we got our start.
No, that's really cool. And I agree, growing up, seeing that shift you were talking about, and where things that I was seeing a lot of girls, including myself, getting bullied for or made fun of or certain things. And then now it's really been an embracement and joining together and feeling a lot more womanhood and connection, which is just amazing that you guys really being in like these programs, the girls that you guys have is probably
Mhm.
just an amazing experience.
I
And
know. All these boys have a club, right? All these men, they have a club, and we need a club too. Like if you walk
exactly.
into a coffee shop, it doesn't matter if you know the girls that are in there or what they're wearing or what they're doing. Like it should be an automatic thing. You make eye contact with them and you're like, I got you. Something crazy happens in here. I got you. Like we need a club.
Exactly. And that leads in because Stronger Together goes beyond mentorship and it's leadership, sisterhood, community. And could you speak a little bit more on what you guys do in the programs to build that community and sisterhood?
Yes. So from a mentoring perspective, we have like many, many layers of mentoring that happen. We'll have the kids themselves. Like I said, they're in the fifth through the 12th grade. So we have something called Words of Wisdom, where every year we'll it could be this elaborate, scrapbook, or it could be a play, or it could be some posters. But what they'll do is they'll tell the group who's in the grade below them, okay, I just finished with sixth grade. Here's what you can expect. And they do that at every level. So we're teaching them to start looking out for one another early on. And then above and beyond that, we have special groups of high school students that work with our younger kids. Of course, we have group leaders that work with the kids themselves. We have special parts of our program that require one-on-one mentors, like helping students getting ready for college and doing their Common App and their essay development and stuff. So they'll have a one-on-one mentor for that. Or we have students that don't have opportunities for extracurricular learning. So we get grants that pay for that. And in the course of that, we're also aligning them one-on-one with mentors. So that mentoring is just a key part of what we do.
That's awesome because you know that all these girls are definitely taking what they're learning from you guys and putting it into the real world also and just creating a ripple effect, which is just amazing, especially since you guys do the 5th grade through 12th grade, which I think is a very important, like pivotal time in a girl's life, kind of where they're building all these
Yeah.
foundations and you guys are just making it easier and smoother and helping them realize, hey, like these girls got me, like I have people that I can fall back on if anything happens,
Yeah.
which is just awesome.
Yeah. It's a cool thing to see progress. And I will say, I think you mentioned leadership, but as far as that goes, like we absolutely are building leaders with these kids. There's certain parts of our program that are run exclusively by the students, the student leadership teams, um, and we've gotten enough time under our belts now that we're able to see things like, I'll use Maddie as an example, one example, but she's been with us for 8 years and been a leader in various
Mhm.
capacities within our program. Right now, this summer, she just graduated high school, so now she's like a summer intern for us. And in the fall, she is going to be a group leader herself for a group of 5th graders who are just starting out. And so she's giving back to her community. She's choosing to do that through our program. And she's an incredible leader. And I'm excited that I feel like we have some small part of something to do with that.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Just because so many girls that are in the programs are probably wanting to become those like be more a part of
Mm-hmm.
it, and then it's just this cycle where you're creating all these wonderful, strong women, and then they're also like passing down their. And it's really sweet to think about. And I wanted to ask, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that the girls face today? I know we were discussing some of them earlier, but like socially and emotionally, do you see any kind of themes with the girls that you work with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think social media isn't probably helping us because that's such an easy place for us to be unkind to one another. And especially at the ages that we work with in middle grade and high school, that's when we're maybe the most vulnerable to some of the things that we see online. So we have a summer camp coming up, and that'll be like some of the sessions that we have, putting a focus on that and trying to help the girls get their way, make their way through that. Um, I mean, there's many things like I think that one of the things that maybe now in the society and the environment that we're a little bit siloed, right? We're becoming more divisive, and so maybe what we do in our program is because we're bringing so many girls together from different backgrounds, cultures, socioeconomics, what we're doing is the reverse of that. We're encouraging, we are very intentional about bringing all different kinds of girls together for a long period of time where they see each other consistently and helping them to have that open mind about interfacing and understanding and getting to know people who are outside of their orbit who maybe they wouldn't typically meet in the course of their lives. So I do think that's a challenge just of the times
Mm,
that we're in. I think another thing is that whether it's real or perceived, wherever you may fall out on that, there is some sense that women's progress and rights are maybe being diminished as opposed to expanded right now. And so what that means for a program like ours is that knowledge is power. So we need to be out there helping the girls to understand the different things that are happening in different systems, whether it's financial or social democracy. How does it work? We just took a group of kids to the North Carolina legislature last week to sit in on a session to have some one-on-one conversations with North Carolina legislatures and to really help them understand things like how does redistricting impact my world and my family and friends and my community. What does that really mean? So that's a big part of what we have to do is bring that knowledge, and that I think is definitely a challenge for today and where we are.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like in this day and age, like you were saying, with social media and with all the things that are happening around in like government and just laws being changed, it is really important to let the girls know that they do have the knowledge is power, and at the end of the day, they can take this knowledge and help themselves as well as help everyone around them. And it also kind of makes them feel a little bit more
Mhm.
stable with who they are just in themselves. You're talking about since they're in schools, do you work closely with any local schools or families or like other organizations to expand your reach and resources?
We work with very closely with the Durham Public Schools, for example, counselors, or for a literacy part of our program, we work with librarians and ELA teachers. I mentioned North Carolina Central at the start, where Maddie is headed to school. They have been a tremendous partner for us since the beginning. In fact, in addition to them, I mean, we have work and we have volunteers with all of the colleges that come to us. So we're really lucky to sit where we do and benefit from that. Durham Parks and Recreation, the public libraries, many small businesses help us with things. We have some corporate partners that have been with us a minute. We are definitely looking to expand that and seek some deeper partnerships corporately or with entities like the universities. But yeah, partnerships are a key part of why we've been able to accomplish anything that we have.
No, it takes a lot to create what you guys have, and just knowing that there's so much collaboration within it is something also very important probably for the girls to see as well. Or I wanted to ask you, what does it mean for you to be on the other side helping lead and support these young girls?
I mean, I never would have guessed, like when I was your age, like I never would have imagined that this would be something that I was doing. And yet it's like one of the most phenomenal parts of my life that I've ever had. To be able to get to know these girls, their families. To be honest, we have work that also involves, for instance, we have a core group of girls that are nominated to our program for those 8 years, and we probably have maybe a little over 100 of them. But we have about another 300 kids in the community who that same concept of like uniting them, bringing them together so they can hear one another's voices. We do that through different interests. Like it could be the Durham Book Club, that's our program, or it could be Innovators, which is a STEM program that we have. But at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do is bring these kids together, so they can get to learn more about one another. So just to be able to see that happening, and to see those girls become leaders in our program and in the community, it's a cool thing to watch. So I feel very privileged and humbled that I kind of have a front row seat to that. So for me personally, it's pretty incredible. I'm very
No,
lucky.
I bet what you're doing is just amazing, completely. And I feel like very underappreciated, underrecognized, even though you're not doing this for the recognition. But at the same time, it's just awesome. Little hidden heroes. But
Uh,
were there any specific moments? I know this is kind of on the spot, but any specific moments with your like during your time at Stronger Together that really you're like, this is what I'm doing it for. Like this is what our mission is supposed to be.
so many moments, like a million things are popping in my head with that question. But I'll just tell you a moment that happened. I guess it was last year. we have a participation contest in our program, and all of the groups, which groups are by grade, they compete against each other because they know at our summer camp we're going to announce the winner based on how many points they all got. And so this group, they won. They were, I think, at the time in the sixth grade. So they won a weekend trip to the beach, right? And so there's a little caravan of cars taking them to the beach, and we get to the beach, and we're on that road, that's right where the ocean is, and we're trying to find where we're going to stay. And in my car, I had just a whole mix of kids. Again, I had a child that I had picked up from a low income housing situation. Family really struggles, but I also had a child in the car who maybe came from a family that was a little more well resourced and things like that. And the whole time we're driving down that beach road, Sophia, the little girl from low income housing, she was behind me and she was like, oh my gosh, look at these. I've never seen a house like this. This is incredible. And we pull into our place that we're going to be staying, which was not on the beach. It was a little off of it, right? And we pull into our place, and I thought all of the girls had piled out of the car. And I get out of I'm exhausted, right? They've been driving me crazy. And I get out of my driver's side, and it's like I'm tackled because this girl has just wrapped her arms around me, and she starts crying. And she said, I have never done anything like this. I've never been to a place like this. I'm here with all these girls. I can't believe it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Stacy. This is going to be such a great time. And around the corner of the back of my car was this other child, a child who did come from, not a super wealthy family, but a family that could, if she wanted to take piano lessons, she could take them, And she saw this happening, and the rest of the weekend, those two girls were inseparable, right? And to me, that was a moment that I didn't plan, I didn't see coming, but I think that really speaks to what our program is about. We offer the kids opportunities. We offer them those opportunities together, and we are trying to help them organically see who they all are, and that they're all wonderful, and that they all bring something incredible. So I have a lot of stories, but that's just the one that popped in my
That
head.
is so sweet. That is just, and that must have been so satisfying, or not satisfying, but just a very heartfelt moment for you to see, everything. It's not even like you had to do anything yourself. It's just what you guys have been teaching them. It's just paying off in so many ways, and
Mm,
that's really amazing. That's
yeah.
that's really sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. A front row seat to
Mhm.
stuff like that. It's like going to a show and not knowing what the performance is going to be, but like it's great. It's really, really
No, that's an
fortunate.
amazing way to describe it too. I was just
Plus,
about to say, how can our listeners get involved with Stronger Together? Are there any volunteer opportunities, events, campaigns?
yeah, there's a couple of different levels that I wanted to just sort of talk through because I imagine you have a lot of students listening, but I imagine you also may have some staff and some NC State folks that are, administratively or educators or what have you. One of the things that we are focused on is diversification of how we get our revenue, just because of the changes with grants and that kind of funding. And so we're trying to make sure that we find other ways to stay in business. And so because we are doing so many different things, whether it's something with STEM or literacy or higher education, anti-racism, positive mental health, extracurricular learning, these are all things that we have programming in. We are always on the lookout for entities or corporations that would be excited about the work we're doing and would say, hey, we want to hammer out like a long-term partnership with you all. You have this STEM program called Innovators. that dovetails with the work that we do. So what could that look like, and how could we help you to build that part of your program such that it can be a revenue generator for you and you can tap into the skills and resources that we can offer? That kind of partnership would be incredible, and we really are working on trying to grow that. From a student perspective, we have lots of students that work with us in various capacities. I would always say to visit our volunteer page, stronghertogether.org /volunteer, or volunteer match is a great place to find our current needs. Right now, today, if you've got some NC State students who wouldn't be opposed to a trek to the Durham area every 4 to 6 weeks on a weekend, usually in the afternoon, we're looking for group leaders that would be excited to co-lead groups of girls, 10 to 12 girls, for activities on the weekends. That could be anything from like a community service project to ice cream in the park to bowling to hearing from some amazing community leader. So we are on the lookout for group leaders if somebody would be excited about that. And we provide transportation. I should say, like, those are, other than our program being 8 years old, a really unique thing about us is that it's entirely free. So like, kids are in our program the whole time and they don't pay for anything. And we also help with transportation because a lot of kids have limitations with that. So what that means is that we have a driver pool. Of course, we do background checks and DMV checks on all of these people that I'm mentioning. So there is some administrative stuff for onboarding and child safety and what have you. But if there's some students that say, "Hey, I would be up for like helping to get some kids somewhere," the driver thing is something that we can pay a little bit to help. Two of the folks that help us in that way. But right now, today, as of this summer, those are a couple of needs that we have that we'd be excited to meet you and talk more about.
Oh, awesome. I feel like I might also try and get in there.
Come on over.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
that'd be
yeah,
great.
that's awesome. And finally, where can people find you online or follow along with the amazing work?
Yeah, so on social, we're Strong Her Together. So it's Strong HER Together. That's a great way to see what's up with us. And then, of course, our website is stronghertogether.org. So either one of those ways is
Oh,
fantastic.
perfect. As we come up on the end of our chat, I just wanted to thank you again for coming in and chatting with me about StrongHER Together and all that you guys do for the community and just girls in general, young, impressionable women. And it's just really amazing work which you guys are doing. And it's really important in this time and age, I feel. And it's just helping young girls know their worth. Extremely important and just amazing.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah, of course.
Sophia. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate you. It's so cool that you all are doing
Oh,
this.
yeah, of course. Thank you all for listening to Oak City Move. Once again, I'm your host, Sophia Magnanini, and if you're interested in listening to this episode again or past episodes of the show, you can go to wknc.org/podcast. And make sure to tune in to our show every other Monday on WKNC 88.1 FM Raleigh. Have a great day.